Are you bored with The Sims? Do you find yourself bringing up the game and then just closing it once more because you don't know what to do? These are my top 10 tips on how to bring your love back for The Sims. We all have times where we get bored with the game, and sometimes we need a little help to bring that spark back. So, with that in mind, here is my number one tip to stop being bored with The Sims. Stop cheating. Do not use cheat codes or cheat in any way. It's so simple. You want a new house, so you type in motherlode. You need just a little extra simoleons for that brand new item, so you type in kaching. Or you just really don't want to take care of your Sims today, so you cheat all their needs up. Do not do this. This takes away all of the challenge of the game and does make it boring. When you make a new sim and you give them everything from the beginning, maxed out jobs, an amazing house that's 500,000 simoleons, you take all of the challenge out of the game. And when that happens, you can get bored. So my number one tip is to not use any cheat codes or cheat mods of any kind and to just play the game as it was intended. My number two tip is to stop fast forwarding through the game. It is so easy to get bored when you're playing on speed 3. When you do this, you cannot get attached to your sim character. You can't really come up with storylines or really just play them and get attached. I highly recommend to play on speed 1 and to never fast forward, unless they are asleep, of course. But I find that this gives your environment a much more rich context. You spend a lot more time with your Sims. You get attached to them. You'll notice little things throughout the game that you may not have noticed before. It's such a small thing, but it really does add richness and character to your game. Number 3, do challenges. I love a good challenge. And sometimes it's exactly what you need to get that spark back in The Sims. There are so many challenges that I can't even go over them all in this video because there are so many of them. An extremely popular one is the Rags to Riches, where you start a sim off with nothing, just living on the land and trying to make them rich. This is such a fun challenge. Another challenge is the extremely popular Legacy Challenge, where you try to have one sim family line all the way up until a generation of your choosing. Some choose 10 generations, some choose 12. I've even heard of a 20 generation challenge. There's also the Not So Berry Challenge, which is extremely popular. There are so many challenges out there. I'm sure you could find one that would spark your interest. Number 4, goals. Set a goal for your sim. Don't just play it and kind of hope for things to happen. Have a goal in mind and go for it. Try and reach the top of your career or aim for a certain amount of money that you want or even a certain amount of kids. Give yourself something to strive for, to reach. And then once you hit that goal, make another goal. Don't just play the game aimlessly because you could get bored by doing that. Number 5, change everything. Change your house, your community lots, or your entire map. I find that when I start getting bored in The Sims, it's typically because my surroundings aren't changing. And in real life, that's just not a thing that happens. Things change all the time, year to year, and every day. So your Sims game should be the same. Change your house, bulldoze it, make a new one. Change all of your community lots to something completely different. Give your Sims new activities to do. Change the bar down the road to a bowling alley instead and have your Sims go there every week to have a family bowling night. Change your house and add a rental to it. I mean, their possibilities are really endless. And I find that when you change your house and all the community lots that you frequent, the game starts feeling very fresh in a different way, and it makes you want to play in them. Bonus points if you build it all yourself instead of getting it from the gallery. I tend to want to play in the things I've built more than the stuff I get from the gallery. Number 6, play one pack at a time. Now, this one is really interesting and it's one I personally do all the time. Sometimes I just really want to focus on one specific pack. Sometimes I only want to play and get to work and then explore everything this pack has to offer. This is an old pack. This was the first expansion pack that came out. But sometimes I feel like you get that spark back when you go back to old packs that you haven't played lately and play them again. Get to Work is just one example, but you could have a one generation focus on the Get Together pack and focus on everything that new that this pack brought in. Or you could focus in on high school years and just look at everything that you can do in there. I find that when I go back and revisit old packs, I find things that I didn't find the first or even the second time around. There's a lot of features in these packs, and it's very easy to miss them. So, one thing I definitely recommend is to focus on one expansion at a time. Pick the one that sounds the most interesting to you. Watch old trailers and pick one, and then focus on those packs. Go back to city living and live in an apartment and explore the city just like you did the first time you played it. My next tip might be a little controversial, but I am going to suggest it anyway. Number 7, play without mods and CC. There are so many people that absolutely refuse to play the game vanilla, but I highly recommend it. There are so many features in this game that you may not even know about because you're playing with mods. You're using all of the mod features and not what was built in game. So it's very easy to miss a lot of things. When you play vanilla, it also offers a completely different type of challenge that it does with mods. When you're playing vanilla, sometimes you have to think creatively to make your storylines come to life because you can't just make it happen with mods. I find that if I ever get bored with the game, it's time to take out all of my mods, all of my CC, and start from the very beginning and start completely fresh. This one is going to be quite hard to do for some simmers, maybe even impossible for some of you, but I do highly recommend it. The 8th tip I have is to get a new pack. Sometimes you just feel like you've played everything and you just need something new. Well, for this, I would just buy a new pack. There are so many packs out, and it's likely that you do not own all of them. Seek out a feature that you would love to play with and get new gameplay and try it out. Sometimes it's exactly what you need, and new packs are released all the time. My 9th tip is to be different. A lot of simmers get bored with the game because they're doing the same gameplay loop over and over and over again. Break out of that box. If you only play Rags to Riches and that's it, eventually you're gonna get bored. So play something different. Go ahead and hit Motherlode. Give yourself the nicest house on the block and start playing from there. Do something completely different from what you've been doing. If you only play with families, go play with a single person and never have them get married. Breaking out of your box is exactly what some people need to revitalize the game for them. If you only ever play with a specific few expansion packs, go for different ones. If you only ever play on the short lifespan, go to the normal one. Or if you're used to only being on the long lifespan, go to the short one. Do something drastic. Play in a completely different way than what you're used to. Doing repeat storylines and the same play over and over can get boring. And my number 10 tip. This one is going to be controversial as well, but it's to play another game. Sometimes you just have burnout with a specific game. You've played it too much, you've played it too long. Sometimes it is time to try something else and then come back. One of the games you could play are one of the older games. There are 3 other main title sim games you can try out if you are bored with The Sims 4. There are tons of other life simulation games out there as well. Sometimes you just need a break from your game to avoid burnout, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But those are my tips to make The Sims fun again for you. I hope they were helpful, and if you have any suggestions on other ways to bring joy back to your game when you are just tired of it, let me know down below. I would love to read them. But that is all I have for this video. I hope all of you have a lovely, lovely day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.